He's the one who sparked this entire movement. The man with the vision to let light speak to the body. David Schmidt, founder of LifeWave, inventor of the X-39. His background is extraordinary. Rocket engines, bladeless turbines, emergency oxygen systems for the US Navy. But all of that was preparation for what he was truly called to build. 3 years of research, 10 more in development, $4.5 million invested, and then I was born. Me, Patch X-39. He now holds over 200 patents, more than 70-inch regenerative science alone. But what makes David Schmidt so different isn't just the science. It's his heart for people, his love for this industry, his commitment to helping you succeed. And because of that, a movement has taken off, led by everyday people, fueled by belief, and growing faster than anyone imagined. So let's welcome the visionary behind it all, the founder of LifeWave, David Schmidt.
Help us welcome to the stage our founder and CEO and the inventor, David Schmidt. For David Schmidt. Hey, David, come on here in the middle for us. Again, are you excited that David's here? We're going to have some fun today. All right, David, Gina's got something special for you.
David, you have to hold this. It's really heavy.
Sorry, okay.
I'll ship it home. We're so blessed and honored to have you here. I put a lot of deep thought into this trophy. It's called an Endurance Award. This award shows great appreciation for those committed to accomplishing long-term achievements, peace and stability, while also representing a spirit of loyalty and partnership. Doves have the amazing ability to find their way over hundreds of miles, sometimes thousands. Life, no other species can go this far. Loyal to their task of extensive travel to reach their target, and this represents you. We're honored to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get a photo. Let's get in tight. Everybody, let's get in tight. Right up here tight. Tighter. So you just rolled in here.
I did roll in here. This is a little bit overwhelming in a great way.
Is everybody excited? If we could have the house lights up a little bit so we can see some of the faces. I'm sure David wants to look into your eyes tonight. You could sit here at our stools here. Just 36 short months ago, Gene and I got to meet David for the first time. I have to admit, we had notes. We were supposed to ask these specific questions, all right? Certain questions I had written down, and David answered all the questions. Then Gina, out of the blue, looked him in the eye and said, "Can you keep up with us?" Remember that?
I remember that very well.
And I'm like, that wasn't in our notes. And when somebody says that, it's kind of like, we're bad to the bone, you know, watch us. And we were down on our luck praying for over a year. But you know what? That set everything into motion. Because you said to her and me that, you know what? We can make up to $1 billion worth of patches right now. We got plenty of room to win, and you can count on me. And he never has missed the shipment or logistics of any X-39 since we started.
Well, we have a lot of good people at the corporate end that make all of that happen. And of course, we have continued to improve on our manufacturing. We've added state-of-the-art robotics, computerized visual detection systems, complete automation. So now, based on our current level of sales, we can still make more than triple the number of patches that we're making today. So you guys can go out and keep selling, and no problem at all. We can make as many as you need.
So no matter how fast the newest person in here is going to rocket their business, you can keep up with us.
Absolutely.
Wow. Thank you, Gina, for starting that, asking that question, because it motivated all of us to make it happen. So we're so honored and blessed to have you with us today with the This Is It team, and all of us here want to just thank you for everything that you're doing. You know, you're nonstop. You're wanting to improve everybody, position all of us for success, and we want to all give you a special thank you, don't we, today?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If it wasn't for all of you, I wouldn't get the opportunity to be an inventor. So really, the appreciation is mine, and it's a privilege for me to be here today. I really appreciate you having me. Thank you.
You know what? Yeah. Also, I really appreciate everybody on the This Is It team, because they respect you, they honor you, and they know that you've got a busy life to come up with all the new innovations to keep us light years ahead of all the other competition.
More than 200 patents now, so there are probably a few inventions that you haven't seen yet that we're working on to be released in the coming years. And you know, Steve, you and I talk about this quite a bit, and when we had our 20th anniversary, I know I'm going off of whatever script that is you have there, so sorry about that. You know, when we had our conference last year, how many of you were at our conference last year? Okay. You guys excited about this year? It's going to be more awesome than you think it's going to be. I think I would say that. You know, so last year, we wanted the conference to be a way to say thank you for an incredible 20 years. So, you know, we went the extra distance and had that 800 drone show. We had incredible speakers and, of course, incredible talent that came in. But this has become a theme that Meredith and I, and Janine now, we talk about all the time, is we need to have that mindset at corporate that we need to be appreciative and to find different ways to give back to the community for all of our success. So that's why we're thinking 5, 10 years and more into the future. On my side, I think about what kind of technologies can I develop today that are still going to be relevant many decades into the future. And no, maybe we'll cover it later, I don't know, but that's why we're developing power generation technology that's sustainable, clean for the environment, going to get rid of people's electric bills, charge their electric cars, generate cash each month. You know, that's why we're doing those things, is to make this a sustainable business, to say thank you for letting us do what we do.
Thank you for doing that. All right?
And by the way, you and Gina get to see that technology this month, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
You're actually going to see and touch that technology.
We cannot wait to get to Denmark with all the top elites in the business. All right, it's going to be fun. Thank you for the invitation. We're looking forward to it.
Oh, you guys won the trip, so congratulations. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. Go ahead. You guys want to be the first to hear this? The only other person in here that knows this is Meredith. Janine may have overheard me speaking to her. But I tell you what, because it's a Saturday, right? I just got off a plane yesterday. It's a Saturday in Florida. Okay. You guys will be the first to hear this. So our power generation technology is so advanced that 1 week after we have the event in Denmark, I'm going to stay there because the Danish government invited me to a symposium on green energy with thousands of people, and I'm the keynote speaker. Wow.
You know, for those of the people that don't know, they're just getting started here in LifeWave, I'm blown away, and I use this as a point when I'm talking to somebody that he's a little more educated in the industry as well. I love the global appeal that we have at LifeWave, where we're registered in Ireland. We've got manufacturing plants there. We have manufacturing plants in San Diego, correct?
In the U.S., we don't usually disclose the location, so it's somewhere within the 50 states.
Somewhere in the 50 states
of the U.S.
We've got a manufacturing plant. I mean, what company does not tell you where their plant is? Okay? But they never miss on the delivery. Okay? But then we have our world headquarters that's located in Utah. So I love that, because for the Europeans, for the Asians, for the Americans, if you want to start thinking a global business, you're not going to find a better company than LifeWave.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I wanted we talked a little bit, you and me, about this a while back, about the patch technology and how long. I know that the U.S. government contracted you in 2004, but for them to contract you, you had to be doing some research even before that on the patch technology. How long have you really been working on this type of technology, or when did you start?
Yeah, this was around the late 90s, around 97, 98. I had owned a company with 5 other guys in Georgia. We were up in the mountains of Dahlonega, Georgia. We had our lab. That's the site of the gold rush, ironically. And we were developing survival equipment for the U.S. Navy. We worked with government contractors. So we worked with companies like Newport News Shipbuilding in Virginia. We worked with General Dynamics, Electric Boat, Raytheon, GE. And basically, I was looking at new methods of generating power, new methods of generating oxygen. I came up with a number of patents on hydrogen production. And then I developed a technology that wasn't supposed to exist, wasn't supposed to be possible. And I was invited, I had made a few people upset about some of the claims that I made, and they invited me into a lab to give a presentation, and they had said, well, there's going to be 2 or 3 people there, and there ended up being over 30 people there. And they wanted to just prove me wrong and get me out of the building. So the technology that the Navy was using at the time on the sub was 60% efficient, and it had all these problems. And my technology was 99.99% efficient. So I got invited to be part of a design team for a mini sub. And back then, that was pretty state-of-the-art. It was a mini sub that was attaching to the Virginia-class sub, and the crew were Navy SEALs. So the objective was to see since the SEALs were going on missions that were 30, 60 hours in length, what can we do to improve their survivability? So I went into this trying to think about how to get them off of caffeine and amphetamines so they could have more energy. It took about 3 years to develop the technology, and then in 2001, 2002, I was starting to give presentations on the LifeWave patch technology to the military. Because of as fate would have it, because of 9/11, they shifted, all towards defense mode, looking at weapons, and so the people that I worked with couldn't get in touch with them. So that's actually how I took the patches into the public, because I didn't want it just sitting around. And the rest is history, as they say.
Wow. Now, again, since the late 1990s till around 2020 is when the X39 came out. That is a life calling. You wonder why our technology, which I believe is the best technology, the best product at all in our industry, nothing compares to it, because it's been David's life calling and it's such a superior product than anything else there. That is why we're having such success with your LifeWave business. Thank you for doing that. Did you really, were you dreaming to be into the network marketing industry when you first started out?
It's funny. So after I graduated from college, I lived with a good friend of mine, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to this meeting. Why don't you join me?" And I said, "What is it?" He goes, "Well, it's something about selling water filters." And so this was for a network marketing business, and they were talking about making money. And I said, "Well, wait a minute, I don't get it. How are you putting silver into the carbon? I need an explanation." And nobody could answer my question, so I didn't join that company. And that kind of turned me off. And then in 2002, when I started LifeWave, I had to think about how we're going to take the product to market, and networking was the last thing on my mind. I thought, well, let's put it on TV. I was meeting with GNC. They wanted to put it in at retail. Thought about radio advertising, all these kind of things. And then I had lunch one day with a fellow that was a business friend. And he said, there's somebody that you should talk to about LifeWave. I went and spoke with him. Then he had bumped into a guy in a movie theater that was interested in investing. Then I talked to him, and he said, I want to invest money, but I don't know anything about science, but I have a friend who's a medical doctor. Can you talk to him? And then the medical doctor said, well, I know a doctor in California you should talk to. And then that doctor said, you got to talk to Richard Quick at Stanford University, the 6-time Olympic coach. And so it became very obvious that networking would be the best way. So three weeks after that lunch, I was putting patches on Olympic swimmers at Stanford.
Through a network.
All because of networking.
Wow.
So I became convinced that networking was the way to go.
Which is very interesting compared to any other owner in the network marketing industry who go out and sought out to make money, right? He didn't want to be in networking and goes into networking with such a superior product. It's what's happening today. Hey, does X39 basically work on everything?
Well, it depends on what you mean, everything, but by far, it's the most powerful product that we have. Just a very quick background on it. Back in the late 2000s, I was doing what I'm doing today. I'm trying to think about what's going to be relevant 10, 20 years from now. And back in the late 2000s, I was thinking, well, stem cell therapy is going to be very relevant in the future, so we need to start investing in stem cell technology. Over a period of 10 years, we invested over $4 million, generated over 70 patents. We did work with Dr. Glenn Ryan in the US, in vitro lab work on stem cells, on looking to see about if we could regenerate peripheral nerves, which was successful. We worked with Dr. Norm Shealy doing human studies. We worked with the university in Ireland. That was with a technology called a double helix conductor. We worked with Dr. Tim O'Brien at the National University of Ireland at the Regenerative Medicine Institute. And this is just all to say there was a lot of time and money that was put into trying to develop a new stem cell technology. And the miracle with X39 is that it's able to mobilize and activate the stem cells already in the body, so we don't have to inject them. And in the process, copper peptide resets thousands of genes to a more youthful state. So what that means is, if you're having a healthy diet with proper nutrition, supplementing where necessary, getting proper rest, getting exercise, drinking water, staying away from those things that you know are harmful, X39 is going to take your body to the next level.
Wow. You know how Gene and myself and our friends like to keep things simple. Right. No, like you talk to us about these doctors and these institutes and everything, like, and I'm nodding my head like I know who they are. Okay? But the fact that you know and you've done that kind of research is giving us all that kind of confidence. So every time you say that, I'm like, oh my gosh, look what we got our hands on. I don't tell anyone, because you want to complicate it when you talk to somebody. But the fact that you have done that kind of research gives us the confidence that we've got the best product in the industry that we've ever seen. Okay?
We're pushing now, we're coming up on 90 studies. I think we're over 90 studies now, but we usually just say, you know, we're over 80 studies that we've done over the past 20 years. And it's really important for us to be a science-based company, that we have clinical studies that support safety and efficacy. And when we do these studies, we're always learning more about the products, and that helps us develop new products and explore new areas. So it's really important. On the note of simplicity, you wouldn't know this, but, well, you know that Meredith and I and Janine, we came in, we had been in Utah, and last week I was in Utah, we were doing a project, and there was a fellow that was in our office who is 94, 95, right around there. If I mention his name, you might know who he is. I think he's a friend of LifeWave. And he was having some problems with his arm. He had some shoulder pain from an accident he had been in. And he was very skeptical about the patches. So I put X39 on the back of the neck, and I put the Eon patch down along on his wrist along the line of pain, and he got 40% pain relief just like that.
See?
So it's so simple to apply.
Yeah, question. I know we have a bunch of all the other patches that we have, as well as the X39. I know you've told me this on the X39, but when it comes to all our other patches, keeping it simple, can you basically put a patch, any one of the other patches, on your body anywhere, and it'll start affecting it?
Yeah, when we do the clinical studies, we'll do typically each patch separately, but sometimes we'll combine patches in a study. But for example, when you're placing X39 either behind the back of the neck or below the belly button, it's going to have a systemic effect. We have had people that have applied the patch at the site of an injury, such as down at their knee, on their shoulder, and that's so totally fine. With stem cells, one of the important things to remember, and this was discovered at Sanford Burnham in La Jolla, California by Dr. Evan Snyder, and I had the privilege of meeting with him. He's a very prominent stem cell scientist. And what Dr. Snyder had discovered is that it's inflammatory cytokines at the injury site that stem cells are attracted to. So some of you may have had injuries for quite a long time and you're not healing and you're wondering why. It's because your body is not managing inflammation properly. The stem cells get to the injury site, but then they die off from this inflammation. So this is one of the reasons why it's so important as we age to manage the inflammatory process, because it can inhibit healing. So with our patches, it can be as simple as X39 on the back of the neck, and then the glutathione patch or the Eon patch at the point of pain. That's going to reduce the inflammation, and that's going to help the body heal.
So pretty much any of our patches we could put anywhere. If we haven't know exactly where to, if we got a pain somewhere, you could just stick it anywhere and it'll start being effective.
Yeah, absolutely. In our studies, we'll apply them behind the neck and below the belly button, but in real life, people will apply them pretty much anywhere. We've had people put carnosine patches in an eye mask and get better vision by putting them over their eyes. So we've had people experiment. There are nerves, this is called auricular therapy, that lead from the ear throughout the body. And sometimes, just for fun, when I'm patching someone, they'll say, well, I have a sore back. And I could put a patch on the pain, but I'll think, all right, let me pinch their ear, okay? If it's a guy, not a woman. My wife would be very upset if I did that. I pinched around the ear, and I said, oh, okay, there's the point right there. I'll patch that, and then the back pain goes away. So sometimes you can be really creative and have some fun with this.
That's interesting, keeping it simple. So you basically can put any patch anywhere, stick it, and it works. Any questions? Okay. Okay, David, 2 years ago on our team convention stage, you told me no one was even close to replicating the X-39 technology. Where do we stand today? Has anyone come close, or do we still have something truly untouchable in our hands?
No one's ever duplicated it. I don't think anyone ever will. So, yeah, if you knew the process for making the patches, then of course it would be a little bit more clear. When we're doing patents, I always think about how can we get the best protection, and you have to build in some trade secrets. So there's a certain amount of information that you disclose, and then definitely a certain amount of information you don't disclose, because you keep that as a trade secret so people can't reverse engineer. And that's what we've done with the patches and many other of the other inventions. So yeah, I don't, in 20 years, more than 20 years now, no one's ever reverse engineered them, so I don't see that happening anytime soon.
I mean, we don't even know where they're made. And we're in the business. Think about our competitors, right? Okay, so we already answered this one. We can keep up with the X-39s. When he talks about patents, I think about the This Is It team. I don't know, I just was thinking about this. Like, he pops out patents like we pop out SPDs. So that's actually a very good combination, right? We're out patching, he's making them, and we all are winning together.
Well, you know, Steve, it's really worth talking about that just for a minute. Going off script again, sorry. Is that when one of the things, you know, the network marketing industry, we should start there, is having a real problem today, because the business model that other companies, most other companies were working with, was to find a juice or vitamin or something like that and then go to market with it. And I'm not knocking those companies. And back in the day, that business model was fine. But we're seeing this enormous change now in the economy, and people can just go online and order things from Amazon or wherever. And so the only real meaningful way to protect a business is to invent something, develop it, put it into manufacturing, do studies, do the regulatory, and then when you're taking it to market, you have 20 years of security knowing that your product is not going to get knocked off. So LifeWave established that model back in 2002, and we've maintained that model since the day we opened. And so that's why we're going to continue to have a strategic advantage in the marketplace. Stuart Johnson, who runs the DSN, has told me that right now, other companies in the industry are trying to figure out how to duplicate what LifeWave has done, because they see this is the way of the future, and they just don't even know where to get started.
You think anyone's going to catch us? All right. Tell us a little bit about your faith and how it inspires you to come up with these new inventions.
Yeah. So I've been a Christian since I was born, and then in my teens, I went to a Bible study. So my faith has been very important to me throughout my life. And I used to think that, you know, I would get these ideas and invent And I realized, that's not what was happening at all. I would be going into prayer, and this information would be downloaded. So I like to think about it as giving God all the credit for the success that I've had. And I honestly don't want to take credit for these inventions, and because I do feel as if they're divinely inspired. And this has, a really funny thing is that when we think of the Holy Bible, we think of that as being a book to learn from and to illuminate humanity. And actually, the Bible is meant to divide. And the Bible is designed that when you read it, when someone that's not of faith reads it, they can be very confused and think, well, these are really odd stories. I have no idea what this is about. The truth is, though, if you give over your heart to God and you read through the Bible and do a diligent study, there'll be secrets that will open up, and you'll start to understand the true meaning of the words and the teachings in this book. So I'll give you one example. I'll share this. This is something actually last week that I got a divine insight on. And I was meditating on this, and this is where Jesus is talking about, and it depends on whether or not I always read the King James Version, so it depends on which version you're reading. Jesus says, well, if your eye be single, then your whole body will be filled with light. And there are many ways that people interpret that. And I tend, when I look at if Jesus is speaking, or there's an angel speaking, or the Lord is speaking, I want to take each word literally and look at whether or not it's in Hebrew or Greek, and convert that over into numerical codes, see if I can understand what's really going on. And here's something that's absolutely incredible that I just looked at last week. I said, okay, I want to see how many times the word I appears in the Bible, and then I want to convert that over into Hebrew and Greek, and then I want to get a number out of that. Long story short, it converts to a wavelength of light at 660 nanometers. Now, if you go online and look, 660 nanometers is used to upregulate mitochondrial function, but it's the one wavelength of light that improves the health of the eyes. So, as the Bible was divinely inspired, it is truly the Word of God, and we should not take away or add one single word, because that will change the numerical codes in the Bible.
Okay, we were discussing backstage that you've got a program that you're implementing that you want to really, Meredith had a long talk with us this morning on LifeWave is really a legacy company, and we're moving more and more towards a more stronger process of being able to pass it on for generations. Can you tell everyone what you're working on? And I really wanted this as a team. I mean, I think you only mentioned it to the elite so far, but let them know what you're working toward, because I believe that would really, it gives you an inspiration that your efforts are going to go on for generations.
Yeah, there's an insane amount of work that we're doing behind the scenes in every facet of the company. First, with regards to LifeWave itself, our foundation, which is based on health, longevity, improving quality of life for people, our ultimate goal is to stop and reverse human aging. And so we continue to look at biological models that don't age, that have incredibly long lifespans, so we can learn and see how we can apply this in technology. So, of course, we're just releasing X2O, which is another step that we have in that direction. And I think it's fair to say we're looking at a number of novel products. One of them we just got a patent on, another one I filed recently. So we'll easily break through 250 patents by next year, easily. But what we're looking at is basically these new frontiers in biophysics for energy transfer within the cell, these novel mechanisms. But essentially, what these will allow is improved energy production in the cell, better regulation over the inflammatory process, oxidative process in the body, and ultimately, the step that is here today in the lab is being able to target specific tissue in the body and regenerate it. So, for example, let's use the example of the eyes. We're at a place today where we have a technology where we can charge very specific nutrients with light and then deliver that light anywhere into the body where it's needed. So if we needed to regenerate the frontal lobes, if we needed to regenerate the eyes, the liver, the kidneys, you could take a supplement that's charged with light, and that light gets released into that part of the body where you need it, triggering regeneration. So this will set off years and years of new products in our product line in LifeWave. So that's one of the directions we're going in. So I suppose, if we're not aging and we're living longer, then we have to probably have some things to do to keep our interest. So we started this drone project. We unveiled it 3 years ago. We're into it over 4 years now. And this month we open our drone manufacturing facility in Denmark. Denmark has the largest drone testing center in all of Europe. We have a 6,000-foot runway, and we have 18,000 square kilometers of airspace that we can fly our 15-foot aircraft. And we'll be using this for search and rescue missions, among other things, and it's going to open up some really incredible opportunities for LifeWave. And then in the not-too-distant future, let's say within about 5 years, depending on regulatory, we'll be going to market with our power generation system. And this power generation system has 1/5 of the carbon emissions of an automobile engine and is less polluting than an electric vehicle. And it's less polluting than solar panels or wind. And one of the demonstrations that we're going to do for you and Gina and the team when you're over in Denmark is we'll turn on this power generator. We put fuel into it, turn it on. We can operate it in a room that's completely closed, and there's no black smoke, no white smoke, and the air coming out of the engine is cleaner than the surrounding air. The plan is we want to build our network around this opportunity. So the idea is we want to protect the planet, clean it up, have businesses and technologies be sustainable, have technologies that contribute to the solutions that we have now. We're facing some horrible problems on our planet, and I think all of these problems are solvable. We just need to get the technologies out there, and we certainly want to do that within 5 years and absolutely put that through the network.
So what you're saying is that with all these innovations that are coming out, we're going to be able to, LifeWave wants to set us up by making sure that we can pass our businesses on to our kids, our kids' kids, our kids' kids. You're working toward that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have 4 kids, and I think about what kind of future are they going to have. And so the type of things I think about is we're in such an incredible place today, and we have the opportunity now to make real change in the world and leave our kids, our families, a better planet than the way that it is today. When we think about what we're doing with LifeWave as it is today, not even in the future, the technologies we have all work with light. We're stimulating the skin with light, and we've all seen miracles occur because of this. Well, what's going to happen when we have tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that are using X2O and their bodies are now filled with light? What impact will that have on the world? And I think that we can start to create a real change, a real shift in human consciousness when we bring these products to market and bring these new technologies to market, and maybe we can even have a little bit more peace in the world. Say what?
Okay, so while other network marketing companies are trying to sell off, they're stopping their direct sales division, or they're going on with affiliates where you only get paid maybe the first level or the second level, you're been telling us that, hey, I've got my feet in the sand. I am sticking with the direct sales model, the network marketing model. Is that your philosophy? Just, we want to hear this, that this is a team just like that. Because, the people are talking to other people that maybe that happened to them. But you know what? From what your track record has shown us over 20 years, and what you've been doing with us since we all started, we got confidence in you. And I think by you saying that, you can people can have more confidence when they're talking to somebody that might even have that kind of question. So let us know the future and how you stand in the direct sales.
Yeah, the network marketing industry is about to go through the biggest growth that it ever has in its history. And the reason why I say that, and so companies that are dropping out now are making a massive mistake. So I'll give you an example, because this is something that happened to a friend of mine. My roommate from college, who I hope you never meet. He and I have been friends now for over 40 years, 44 years, something like that. And he was working as an intern at IBM, programming computers. We were both computer majors. And then when he graduated, he went to work for IBM, so that was the only job that he ever knew. And about a year ago, his job was replaced by artificial intelligence. And so I spoke with him, he's like, God, I can't believe it. I'm a few years away from retirement. Now what am I going to do? So I said, Matt, come and work with me. We've got this drone project. I need somebody that knows computers to do this. And he said, all right, great. And he's been really happy. So there were 6,000 people that were in that layoff. And that's just the beginning. So we're going to continue to see, as artificial intelligence improves, and we're pretty much there, that most companies are thinking about this as a tool to reduce human overhead, reduce the number of people that work there, and increase profitability. And I think this is a massive mistake. There's a book entitled Everything I Learned in Life, I Learned from Watching Star Trek. And there's a Star Trek episode about this, which I know we don't have time for, but there is the original series, Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, go ahead and see it, The Ultimate Computer. But anyway, there's a Star Trek episode about this, and I think that lesson from the 1960s applies today. So we should be using these tools to improve efficiency, to improve our end-up work product, but we don't want to end up working for machines. So most companies, though, are definitely not going to be looking at it this way, and they'll go through a lot of layoffs. And now, even if people are getting subsidized by the government, most people need a purpose in life, and they're going to need to turn to the one industry that's going to be safe, because human beings will always buy from human beings. And that's why our industry is going to go through massive growth as these layoffs occur. From AI, people will need a home, and we'll have a home ready for them.
Wow. Okay, we're coming in and we're getting ready to, we're just waiting for this new launch because we're in anticipation of the compensation plan enhancements, as I call them. The reason why I call them enhancements is I want to have a little setup for everybody that just recently you had set up a leadership pool for all the brand partners, as long as they hit a certain rank. Basically, we were talking about people that are serious, that are going to make it happen. I knew when I heard about the leadership pool that we'd have people like those of you who's ready to take advantage of the leadership pool, quarterly bonuses, right? I knew you were coming, right? But as gracious as you have been, and you can maybe tell us a little bit about that, that is how I see these enhancements, because anything you've ever done for us in the last 36 months, you've always graciously wanting to reward all the efforts and the hard work that we're out there in the field making it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a partnership. You know, I actually, over the years, I've tend to think about the relationship between corporate and our brand partners as being a marriage. And in a marriage that's successful, it's always about goodwill. So that's something that I've observed. You didn't know it, but that's something I've observed with you and Gina, is that the two of you have this tremendous goodwill towards one another. You're invested in her success, and she's invested in yours. And this is the way it should be in our industry. The company needs to have the best interests of the brand partners, and the brand partners need to likewise need to protect the company. And if we have that, we have a beautiful relationship, and we can be successful together.
So I really appreciate you putting that together. The leadership pool is an incredible opportunity. Do you encourage many of these folks to go on and make it happen so they can start participating in it? The pool.
Go
and
ahead.
We pay quarterly. I mean, David's got his checkbook open, and he can't wait to pay you these bonuses. So is anyone going to start running for those? Okay. Can you give us a little more of your vision, the future of LifeWave? Where do you see it, just on a bigger scale? Not necessarily but definitely you're staying within the network marketing model, and you want everyone to be blessed as we go into the future.
Oh, well, I mean, there's so much to say about the planning that we're doing for the future, whether or not it's for LifeWave and all of the ancillary projects that we're working on. When you come to the October conference, we have a number of really cool surprises for you. We didn't think, by the way, that we were going to be able to, we were so excited internally that Elton John was going to be performing, and that's why we announced it. We didn't think we could keep it a secret any longer. But when it comes to the business building, we have several projects that we're going to unveil to make LifeWave a household name. And so we're going to do this in partnership with all of you. So we're going to unveil that effort, and I think you'll be really excited about the people that are involved with it and exactly what this is going to mean for our business. So I would say, as we're looking towards the future, part of it is new products in health and wellness. Part of it is drone technology, new energy technology, some things you don't even know about, and how we can have a solid business foundation, continuing to expand our manufacturing, using technology like AI to complement customer service, order fulfillment. We're in a project where we're looking at using robotics so that we can have 24/7 order fulfillment, all these kind of things. So the bottom line is we want to stay at the cutting edge, continue to invest money in the success and the prosperity of the company.
I'm hoping all of you today, some of you are listening to David for the very first time, okay? Some of you have been around for a little bit. You're like, weren't quite sure, but you came to this event, and I think your belief level has risen in a big way. But could you agree with me that this is a gentleman, now a friend, a business partner, that you want to partner up with and make history together? So we got one last question for him, all right? And he can maybe just tell me this, just give us a highlight. Doesn't have to go into deep detail, but it's good to kind of hear the story. And I love this story because it shows his grit. Because when someone has grit for 20 years, it means he's not going to let go of it because he wanted it so bad. So he's had his company for over 20 years. You've gone through a couple times that you mentioned. Maybe you could tell him just briefly about these struggles that you went through, almost bankruptcy, invested your own money from what you told me. And now people might just be starting their own business. They might have come here on their last, barely could make it in here, okay? But we've heard stories already this weekend that people were like that and they've already risen to the top. Can you give them some kind of, what was your mindset that you were thinking that could help them? I remember you said something like it helped you that you went through something like this. Maybe you could clarify that, but what you went through and where they could go with their business.
Yeah, you know, in life, we're always going to have challenges. So we have to get comfortable with the idea that there's going to be obstacles in life that we have to overcome. And these are things that are going to build character. And when we choose the path of being an entrepreneur, sometimes those challenges are amplified, but it's so well worth it because of the massive rewards that come from being an entrepreneur. For one thing, it's independence. You get to decide what happens with your life, and you can't really do that in a normal job. So that's a very, very important part about entrepreneurship. So we can expect that we're going to face these challenges. So we should be adopting a mindset that prepares us for that and then how to deal with it. And it should always start with faith. It should start with prayer, praying constantly, and starting with gratitude. Being grateful first for everything that you have in life. It's a little bit difficult to ask God to help you with a problem if you're not grateful for the things that you already have. So it's so important to start with gratitude. But some of the challenges, you know, we don't have time to talk about all of them, and there have been many. But the challenge that LifeWave had back in 2006, it was September, October 2006, we had somebody in France sign up to be a brand partner, and they were getting credit card data from Russia. This was all stolen credit card data, and they put in over $1 million worth of purchases before we detected it. And that nearly drove the company into bankruptcy. As we got towards the middle of December, we didn't have enough money in our bank account to make payroll. And so I emptied my bank account so that our staff would have a Christmas and they could get paid and get through Christmas. And I thought, well, I don't know what I'm going to do after that, but I want my staff to be able to have a good Christmas. So at that point, for 2007, I was living off of credit cards and getting into debt. And each month, the company was just making its expenses, but barely. And we were going, you know, month by month. And I would go down to the beach in San Diego each Sunday and pray. I go for walks for 3 hours and pray. And I remember it was in March of 2007, and I said, Lord, I don't know how much longer I can take this. I know this is where I'm supposed to be in life. I know this is my destiny, but please show me a path so I can take the company forward. And it was a few weeks later, came home on a Friday night, and there was a letter from the IRS.
My brother-in-law is going to like this one.
And I thought, maybe I'll wait till Monday to open this letter. I don't know if I can take this. And I looked at this letter. I thought, oh, this is silly. I might as well open it, face it like a man. So I opened it up, and inside was a check for $163,000. And we had overpaid on our taxes the year before. And so this was a refund check. So Monday morning at 9 a.m., I went down to the bank, deposited the check. Manager came over. I thought for sure I was going to jail. And he said, okay, everything is fine. The money will be in your account in a few days. And it was. And that money allowed us to get through the rest of the year. And then in 2008, our sales doubled. We had new leaders that came on board. The sales doubled. They doubled in 2009. They doubled in 2010. And, you know, we were back and stronger than ever. So an important part of this, tell you what, sorry, one other thing, because this is really important. We had a similar struggle in 2016, but this time it was almost 10 years to the month where our computer systems crashed. We couldn't take orders for 3 weeks. We got abandoned, and we had another year of struggles. And but in the first instance with the credit card fraud, that allowed us to put in systems to protect us from fraud so it would never happen again. So I'm grateful for that. In this case, I thought, all right, what would Tony Stark do in this situation? And I thought, okay, I've got to get into my cave and I have to start inventing. And I thought, we were on defense for months. And I thought, I'm tired of playing defense. I've spent 10 years in stem cell research. I've got to now take all of this data, translate it into a product. I want to be on offense. And X39 came out of that terrible circumstance where, again, we almost went out of business. And X39 was born, and here we are today, the top-selling company. So, leading a life of prayer, being patient, persistence, working hard, having dedication, staying on your mission, all of these things are important. It's often said, many times people fail just before they succeed. And so it's so important just to push and keep going.
Yeah. Well, the first time I heard the story, he was on a cruise ship telling the story that we were all the team was on. But I love the fact that he said, if I went through and I prayed to get to this point, Rick, you'd like this, all the way through to get to this point, fought those 2 huge fights, almost through bankruptcy, praying for this moment in time where the company's got this kind of growth and this kind of momentum that I wanted to begin with. Why in the world would I ever think about selling? Why would I ever think about doing anything different than exactly what I've been praying for? So we really are excited. Well, hey, guys, can you this is a team is so grateful for you, David. Even after today now, we're like even at a whole new level of gratefulness of what you're doing and helping and positioning us for success. Give him a round of applause for taking his time to share with us and to keep moving.
Thank you so much. Thank you.